I'm AlexofAllTrades, and this is the Sunday Book Circle for My Sister the Serial Killer by Oyinkan Braithwaite. I'm going to mess up the pronunciations, but since my pronunciations of English words is often shaky, I think I can cut myself a break. My Sister the Serial Killer is about a woman named Korede who works as a nurse at a hospital in Nigeria. She has a serious crush that she considers love on the young Dr. Tade and what can be considered neuroses centered around cleanliness and order. She also has a very beautiful younger sister by the name of Ayoola, who at the start of the novel has now killed 3 men, ending the romantic relationship she has with them by violently stabbing them to death and claiming self-defense. All 3 times, Ayoola has called her sister to help her clean up the mess, and all 3 times Korede has made it hard to trace the death back to her sister. Now that it has happened 3 times, she believes her sister may be a serial killer, despite Ayoola's adamant and repetitive claims of self-defense. Korede uses the coma patient Mutar, who may never wake up, as an outlet for all her stress and worry over what is happening with Ayoola. Things heat up once Ayoola and Tade meet. Now that the summary is out of the way, let's talk about how Korede actually feels about Tade. I don't believe she actually loves him because she doesn't actually know him. What she does know is that he is attractive, single, and generally kind to people. That's about it. That's why I think all she has is a crush. He obviously never saw her in a romantic way. Otherwise, he probably would have asked her out before. How Korede behaves around Tade is either generally immature, like a teenage girl spinning a future with a man who has no way of knowing she is interested, or culturally archaic, which takes the responsibility for her feelings and lack of action off herself at least. Reading this as an American woman is distancing to how she behaves in relationship to Tade, because I don't know the general courtship mores of Nigeria, though from the book it seems that dating is still the standard, but that the man always makes the first overt move. Some American women and men still think this way, but I'm not one of them. That's why her feelings and behavior come off as immature to me, but her actions become less and less acceptable in relation to him throughout My Sister the Serial Killer. He seemed more to represent change, a new, better life for her, as opposed to her seeing him as a real person with his own agency, which is why she did some pretty awful things when that vision was threatened by his budding relationship with Ayoola. But what about her relationship to her sister, the serial killer? Korede is not afraid of Ayoola at all, despite thinking she is a serial killer. She's not scared that Ayoola will ever hurt her. If anything, she seems to consider her sister a nuisance, a source of major stress and frustration, even when she kills people, which shows that throughout it all, Korede still sees everything Ayoola does through the lens of being her sister, being her family, through Ayoola being her responsibility. There is really only one point when she fights against this sense of responsibility by trying to warn Tade that Ayoola is a murderer. This scene is important. At first, it annoyed me because she tries to get Tade to admit what he likes about her sister, and when all his answers are vague, and when she thinks about saying something more, pointing this out maybe, and even opens her mouth before closing it and not saying anything, I thought this was more of Korede not standing up for herself. It wasn't actually that. It was Korede finally coming to her senses and realizing that Tade was not worth her feelings, not worth trying to get on her side. Ayoola, as it happens, was right in saying that Tade was just like all the other men. Which brings me to my next topic, misandry and patriarchy. Is the book inherently an attack on men? No, it's not. It could have easily been. I'd say that Ayoola is sexist, probably from the experience of always being seen by men for her looks. I would even say that Korede is somewhat sexist, mostly because of her father, but she is also generally misanthropic, but displays it differently between men and women. She doesn't like her fellow nurses for what could be considered sexist reasons, but I think she just doesn't like frivolity, probably because she has a serial killer in her life. Things like shoes seem unimportant when murder is a regular part of your life. That also explains her obsession with cleanliness and order, which is her attempt to exact control when she feels she has no control in her life. The book is not supportive of misandry, very clearly not, with one particular male character, whom I will not talk about until the spoilers section. If anything, the novel is an attack on patriarchy. What we mostly know of Ayoola's victims is that they are educated and well off, or at least financially comfortable. I think this has both a surface meaning and a thematic one. Korede and Ayoola are also well off, simply because their father was. Serial killers usually kill someone who fits a victimology of someone they once knew. So my guess is that Ayoola is killing her father over and over again, and Korede keeps cleaning up the mess. I believe that Ayoola doing this speaks to a larger theme about patriarchy and the danger it poses to women and young girls, especially those graced, as it were, with beauty, and how maybe some of them just snap, seeing maybe only subconsciously that their sole recourse is violence when men are vulnerable. So now I'm going to talk spoilers. Skip ahead to avoid them. The reason why this book isn't supportive of misandry is Muhtar. Once he wakes up and confronts Korede with what he remembers of what she told him, he doesn't become combative. Instead, he offers her a sympathetic ear. That is at odds with the scene wherein he refuses his son's new bride, which has very little to do with the woman herself, but with the fact that his family has been making decisions without him, and he maybe feels a bit adrift or forgotten by them. It could also seem like the act of a head of household man, but this is also Nigeria. Even if some Americans act that way too, I'm sure that's a more prevalent familial setup in that country. Not that that excuses it, but on to the climax of the novel. It's interesting to note that Ayoola did not attack Tade until he started talking about how horrible Korede was. That is according to Ayoola. But I'm not sure that Ayoola is much of a liar. She may be a murderer, but lying isn't as common for her as she doesn't lie about making the cake. But then again, her most common lie is about why she had to kill them in self-defense. But then, how could she know that Tade felt those things about Korede unless he voiced them? But he could have said it earlier, and that wasn't why she attacked him. He didn't say anything about why Ayoola attacked him. He made it sound like she did it out of the blue, but since he was talking to Korede, then maybe he wouldn't want to tell her that the reason was that he was bad-mouthing her. It's so ambiguous. How perfectly done. Now, the burning of Muhtar's number. So Korede gave up on Tade as a way to a better, different life. This was nothing but false hope because Tade was never interested in her in that way. That dream went up in flames, but Muhtar was real hope. But Korede set that dream up in literal flames. She still decided against a different life. Why? Was she in too deep? Did she love her sister too much? Or did she remember enough of what turned Ayoola into what she was and decide that she had always been a part of that? I think the latter, obviously. Most of the flashbacks are brought up through the lens of Korede's memory, but in the last one the prose becomes more immediate. I believe this was to obscure the fact that it was being remembered, but the other memories plant the seed that this scene is being remembered as well. I think she realized with that final memory that she showed Ayoola that violence against men, even when they aren't being violent for now at least, is the way to get revenge. I think she realized that killing their father, letting him die, was Ayoola's birth as a serial killer, and she was there. She was part of it. She would always be part of it. Let me know what you thought of My Sister the Serial Killer if you read it. What did or didn't you like about it? Did the culture feel very different to you? Did you think Korede really loved Tade, or do you agree with me that it was only a fantasy? Why? Did you think it was sexist? Why or why not? Did you believe Ayoola when she said it was self-defense? Would you ever clean up after your siblings' murders? Let me know in the comments below. Would you like to see what I'm currently reading? Follow me on goodreads.com/AlexofAllTrades to see what I'm reading right now and what book reviews you can expect in the future. I've made a Discord. I'm on it all the time and you're all invited to chat with me. There are channels for video games, movies, TV shows, books, and writing. Even a place for you to promote your own things. Join me there. Everyone is welcome. This has been the Sunday Book Circle, and if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, share, subscribe, click that bell, leave a comment below, visit my blog at empatheticwriter.wordpress.com, and follow me on Patreon for exclusive content and a shout out on a video. Merch, 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 merch. Yeah. Check out my new shop at cafepress.com/AlexofAllTrades for all kinds of products with my face on them.